4 hours of waiting. 4 very long hours to get racing in Spa, and eventually we saw 2 laps under the safety car, 2 that didn't really count at the very start of the race at 2 o'clock when we were supposed to get started earlier on in the day, but treacherous conditions, awful conditions through Spa-Francorchamps means we've ended up with the shortest race in Formula 1 history and a day to forget really for many Formula 1 fans, unless of course you're a George Russell fan who secures his first Formula 1 podium, Williamsi' first podium since Azerbaijan 2017, and Max Verstappen victorious in Spa for the very first time in his Formula 1 career. It's Hamilton in 3rd place, but just to keep note, due to the fact we only completed 2 laps in today's race, half points have been awarded for every driver in the top 10. I might as well go through them because there's not an awful lot to talk about considering the fact we only did 2 laps today. So of course, your top 3: Verstappen victorious, Russell 2nd and Hamilton 3rd, Ricciardo secures his best result for McLaren in 4th, Vettel is P5. Gasly is 6th, then you've got Ocon who moves up a place thanks to Sergio Perez making contact with the wall and his outlap. And though the team were able to fix the car, an awesome job by the way to be able to do that in about 1.5 hours, we never got racing, so Ocon finishes P7, Leclerc is P8, he also moved up a couple of places thanks to Sergio Perez and also Valtteri Bottas who had that 5th place grid penalty, likewise with Ocon moving forward to that reason as well. Latifi, back-to-back point scores for Latifi and back-to-back double point scores for the Williams team, and Carlos Sainz scores a half point in P10. And while we're here, we might as well go through the drivers' standings because Lewis Hamilton still leads the way but is on 202.5 points. Max Verstappen is on 199.5 points and they are comfortably leading the way. It's no scores for Norris, Bottas or Perez, so all of those drivers stay in the same positions. It's the 2 Ferrari boys, Sainz and Leclerc in 6th and 7th. Ricciardo overtakes Gasly for 8th and 9th, and Esteban Ocon rounds out your top 10. It's 11th place for Fernando Alonso in front of Sebastian Vettel, who of course was disqualified last time out with that 2nd place at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Tsunoda is 13th in front of Lance Stroll, and George Russell leapfrogs his teammate with that podium today, moving up into 15th place. Latifi, 7 points now for the Canadian driver in 16th. Raikkonen has 2, Giovinazzi has 1, Schumacher is 19th. However, Nikita Mazepin did score the fastest lap of the race today, but doesn't score a point as he finished outside the top 10. It's safe to say, I expected more than 2 laps of racing today. I was really hoping for a great race. Russell on the front row, Verstappen and Hamilton fighting it out in the drivers' standings. I mentioned yesterday, I could not wait to see what Bottas could do. Perez versus Gasly, Ricciardo starting in 4th place. Could that be his opportunity to score a podium? And to be robbed of all of those storylines, of course, is frustrating. Of course, we've had the summer break, 4 weeks of no racing. We would have loved to have seen wet racing in Spa commence and have an awesome day. But in reality, the conditions were terrible. The conditions in Spa today were dreadful, and I'm so thankful we didn't get racing. The 4 laps we saw, the 2 at the very start and the 2 at the very end, there's no way we would have seen racing today. The cars couldn't even see another driver in front of them, and that was behind the safety car. Think of that in race conditions if a driver had spun down the straight. We've seen far worse in dry conditions, and I am very, very thankful that Michael Massey and the FIA decided to eventually call things quits, ending the day with technically half an hour to go, but there's no denying it's a big mess. And there will be fallout over this next week. Will there be refunds for fans? Won't there be refunds? That's going to be a big talking point. Also in the championship, is it right to award points when we've only raced under the safety car? It's only been 2 laps. It's in the regulations. All of the teams have signed up and agreed to those regulations, so I think it's fair enough, but all of these question marks will start to circle around, and I think it's fair enough we at least have some discussions about these talking points. And finally, in hindsight, of Lando Norris's crash yesterday in qualifying in better conditions than we had today at any point throughout our 4-hour race, I am so glad we didn't get racing. Again, it's disappointing. We all would have loved to have seen a race today in Spa, but we've got one next weekend, and actually we've got another one the weekend after that where we've got sprint quali, so we've got 2 races. It's not all doom and gloom, it's not what we have wanted. For George Russell, I think the biggest talking point today is George Russell with that podium, and I think for Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, all of them will be slightly annoyed that they didn't get to go racing, that they didn't have an opportunity to fight it out with one another. Russell and Hamilton, more Hamilton, would have probably been annoyed that he didn't get that chance to fight for the victory today. But all 3 of them, all of the drivers in Q3 yesterday for the most part, put in fantastic laps. And I think those laps yesterday warrant the positions and the point they gained today, thanks to the fact the race was cancelled. Sorry guys, that's not what anyone wanted. It's really not. The FIA, it's an impossible position for them to be in, keeping the circuit happy, keeping fans happy, whilst also making sure the priority is safety. And on that basis, I think they did very well today. Yesterday, they did look a bit silly, not pulling that red flag out sooner. The drivers were saying it was very clear the conditions had got worse. They were cautious today, but I truly believe that was the right approach. It's a stinker. So much hype for absolutely nothing. Even though we got a George Russell podium, it's a cherry on top, but it's just the cherry. There's no substance underneath. But we go racing again next weekend and the weekend after in Monza. 10 more races, plenty more to look forward to. But I won't waste any more of your time today because a lot has been wasted. So hopefully I'll see you next time out for Zandvoort for a very similar situation on the channel. Quali review on Saturday, race review on Sunday, and I hope to see you all there. Fingers crossed for no rain. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.